Hey everybody, I'm Tommy Lynch. Welcome to SnapDown Wrestling with me, our holiday edition, because I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. Basically what that means is every 10 minutes, I'm going to do a karaoke Christmas song for you guys. And that's not really happening, but it's a good idea. Happy holidays, everybody. Merry Christmas. This is the Monday before Christmas, and we have some nice guests with us tonight. We have head coach from Hope. We have Ed German with us tonight. He's also our Coaches Association vice president. And we have Vin Micucci, head coach of Burrillville High School, with us tonight. And we're going to be talking wrestling. We're going to be talking the latest and greatest, what's going on. What we know, we're going to relay to you, which is not much. But we know some things that you don't know, and tonight we're going to share them with you. So hang in there. Without further ado, let me bring these guys on. Vin and Ed are in my lounge. Bring them up. Here we go. Ed, good to see you. Vin, good to see you guys. How are you?
Nice to see you, Coach.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you too. Ed, you are our vice president. First of all, let's get started with the burning question. Do you think there's going to be a season this year?
Do I think there's going to be a what?
A wrestling season this year.
Well, we voted for it 27-1 last meeting that we had, and we presented to the RIL. The RIL approved us to go in the spring season, so we should be going with baseball and outdoor track. So I'm hoping that we do have a season. We also did it strategically so that, during this time, kids are home. So we're hoping that the numbers go down. Also, there will be people that are going to be taking the vaccine. So at the same time, we're looking for everything to just go down and, get back into some type of normalcy. So wrestling should be happening during the springtime here in Rhode Island.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Vin, what do you think? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I'm certainly hoping that we do. I mean, I think there shouldn't be a reason why we can't. I think that enough knowledge has come about with, precautions and things like that we can definitely handle it responsibly and definitely handle everything that we need to with the safety of the kids in mind. I think that we should definitely move forward with it. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I agree. There's absolutely no reason we should not have a season. It's moved to the spring. We called that early on. Hi. How you doing, buddy? We called that early on, which I think was a great move by all the coaches and our leaders, Tom Galligan, Ed, and all the rest of our executive board that put that into motion early on, which took a lot of pressure, I think, off of the Rhode Island Interscholastic League, as well as the Principals Association, as well as the Governor's Camp. I think that, good, we don't have to worry about that. We don't have to address that because that's been pushed down, or at least proposed to be pushed to the spring, which is a great move simply because, you're going to be competing with baseball and lacrosse. That's not the great part of it, but it's great because we're going to have somewhat of a season. To deviate off that a little bit, the basketball schedule just came out tonight, right? You know anything about that, Ed? I know that you dabble in a couple of different sports and you got your finger on the pulse of a couple of different things.
But not basketball.
No.
But not basketball at all. No. Basketball is one of the sports I stay away from. I stick to wrestling and only wrestling.
I heard you had a beautiful jump shot, though. I mean, is that just
in high school? in high school.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it did come out tonight, and their season is looking pretty bleak. First of all, talking about basketball as a moderate risk and wrestling as a high risk. I'm not sure I agree with that. Everybody on here has heard me talk about this before. It's more of a risk to play basketball with the contact, with the fact that you have 30 people handling the ball throughout an hour's game. How is that a moderate risk and wrestling high risk, just because when you think of wrestling, you think of, wow, yeah, you can't get any more contact than that. Yeah, that may be true, but you're wrestling one person. So the contact tracing is going to be real easy. And not to mention that you're out there for 6 minutes max. In some cases, you're out there for 10 to 20 seconds. As we know, pins happen.
So
and then
those are all great points, Coach. Because in a match, you can actually, I think the fastest pin I've seen was 7 seconds. And the longest match that you can have is 8 minutes and 30 seconds with the overtimes and all. So overall, you're in there with someone else for 8 minutes and 30 seconds, where in the Department of Health's ruling, it says that you're supposed to be around someone for at least 15 minutes. That's not happening in wrestling and basketball. Not to throw any, negative things on basketball or anything, but in basketball, yeah, you're in there for way longer periods of time, and you're breathing on someone else right behind them, not just one individual, but various individuals, and then you're subbing people in and all that. It just becomes very messy. Where in wrestling, it's just you and your opponent. That's it. The contact tracing is done right there. The ref doesn't even get involved. They don't shake your hands. They don't. It's done right there and then. So I don't understand how our sport is looked at that way. I get it. It's closed body. But again, it's just you and one other individual, not 11, 12, 30, whatever the case may be,
Absolutely. Ben, what do you think about that? What precautions are you taking over there at Burrillville? Did you get the defense wipes and getting ready to wipe everybody down before and after matches? Because that's what I plan on doing.
I mean, definitely. Obviously, pod work. Obviously, organically as a sport, we're set up in pods traditionally anyway. We've got our 120 pounders not going to be wrestling with, our 220 or our heavyweight. So we're already organically set up in pods. We've already got all the mat wipes and everything that we've got to use prior to practices, throughout practice, at the end of practice. The sterilization of the mats. I've seen a couple of tournaments go off. They had the antibacterial body wipes. There's 1,000 different things that we can do and organically that we already do. One of the points, just like what Eddie was saying, is a maximum tournament that we've all been to. If we had a major tournament of 40 teams go, you're still capped at 5 matches. So your guy, if he came in first place, he wrestled 5 times, 5 people. And like you were saying with basketball, you've got up to 30 people with the rotation for an hour. And again, our contact tracing is done right there. You've got the bracket. So you can see exactly who went with who. And even, like I said, a major tournament, something like the Cumberland tournament, anything like that, is the most you're wrestling is 5 times.
Yeah.
It's funny. I never even thought about that, Coach. And it's also an hour's time before your next match, too.
Right.
So I didn't even think about that when it came to the equation. So you definitely have enough time and space to clean up and, disinfect and all that before you meet your next opponent,
I'm actually looking to see at the school if we can't institute something. I don't know if it's going to be possible. Just to be able to kind of give parents the warm and fuzzy about being able to do it, is even at the scales at the weigh-in with the rapid. You can do that because it's going to take 10 to 15 minutes to be able to get a quick result for just one more safety measure. When at the scale, we've got an hour to wait anyway. So those results can come right out. So even just as the one more step, along with the body wipes, things like that, there are a few more things that we could add if we can do even a car wash, anything, prior to this season being in good weather, we could raise the money to get it.
Right. And with some of the fundraising that's done within the individual teams, it's there anyway. And plus the school may have money, some COVID relief funds that they can throw into that to keep the athletes going. As we know, it's very important that we get these kids, in their sport, getting them playing, getting them out of their living room and out of their heads. A lot of depression's going on, as we know. So this is an important thing. And you're right. And I'm in total agreement with how we ended up a high risk, but it is what it is. And that's fine because like you said, there's the rapid testing that can be done. And now there's even another rapid test that's out that you download an app to your cell phone and you plug this test into your cell phone and you swab and then you swab it down. and it acts almost like a DNA test where the electric impulses actually show within 10 minutes if you're positive or negative. And it's just absolutely amazing. It's right now being approved, and just another measure that we could take. And that test is going to cost around $20. And like you said, you got the hour before the weigh-ins. I am so confident with all of these things in play that we are going to have a season. I'm very excited about it. I'm not excited about going against baseball and lacrosse, but nonetheless, very excited because it's going to give our diehard wrestlers that have worked literally thousands of hours and went to hundreds of tournaments and traveled all over the country, especially seniors, a great senior year. And for the freshmen coming in, a great, at least, chance to have a freshman season with some of these great upperclassmen. So something to be excited about. I'm not worried about the start at all being in the spring. Now, you guys have heard that you can do two sports, correct? You have a primary and a secondary. That's a real thing. Ed, how does that work?
Well, normally, if you are wrestling, let's say wrestling, and you are also a thrower, you can throw and you can wrestle, and you just have to work on your practices with your coach. It would be a lot more difficult if you were a wrestler and a basketball player because the practices are a lot more intense, you know? So it's not really done much right now, but it can happen if a kid wanted to play two sports at the same time. You would have to talk to your athletic director. You would have to talk to the coaches and make sure that it is okay with the time, with the practices and all that. We haven't seen it much, but it is in the rule books that you can do that. I think that we are better going in the spring right now due to the fact that we won't be competing with kids that want to play basketball, or kids that want to, try something else. I don't think many wrestlers play baseball. There are a few, but I don't think many wrestlers play baseball. And I know some that do play lacrosse. I remember when I coached in Barrington, we had about 5 kids that wrestled and played lacrosse, but we don't have that in the inner city, so we're good.
Right. Well, I mean, it'd be a lot tougher, like you said. And Brian Allen coming in. Can someone get Tommy Lynch some shaving gear? Please do. I got this. I got, of course, my.
Hey, maybe when we're back to normal, you guys can broadcast the matches. The J-Woo and Rick matches and stuff. Those are awesome.
Hey, I'm just saying, you've got to be prepared for who's going to be on this show. I got you, Brian.
Vinny, yeah, definitely.
No matter who's watching, it's all wrestling. Doesn't matter where. It's all about wrestling.
Yeah, I should have grabbed some off of Lonnie when I saw him a couple weeks ago.
If you wanted to get to him, you could tell him that you're wearing a Rick T-shirt.
He's watching right now, so he already knows that. But for sure, going to get some J-Woo. I don't expect them to give me a shirt or a hat or anything. Hint, hint. I'll go on the website. I got you, BA. No worries. And Serge, tuning in. How you doing, buddy? Glad you're here as well. Now, talking again about the season and baseball players and lacrosse. Lacrosse much more taxing. Football much more taxing of a sport to switch over and do two different sports. So to go from lacrosse to wrestling, or from football to wrestling, is real tough. Baseball, not really that taxing on the body, physically. Is it, a physical sport? And do you have a lot of training and a lot of practice and a lot of prep that goes along with it? You do, but nothing like with, lacrosse or some of the more physical sports. And with that, we're going to take a quick break and come right back. You're watching SnapDown Wrestling with Tommy Lynch. I have Ed and Vin with us tonight, and some great viewers, but stay tuned. We'll be right back.
go buy the Cucina de Catharina pasta sauce. It's better than your mama's gravy. I'm just telling you that right now. Go ahead and fight me on it. 5.0. You're not going to get a better sauce out of the jar from a store than Cucina de Catharina.
All right, we're back with SnapDown Wrestling, SFNRI, talking wrestling, talking a little bit about seasons and what's going on. As I was trying to say, the basketball season is shortened. It's January 15th is their start, and February 23rd, they're all done. That is a fast season. That's 6 weeks, not even 5 weeks. Right? Yeah, 5 weeks. Ed, what's our season looking like? Do you have any idea the spring, if it's going to be shortened, if it's going to be a full spring season? Because that's going to go into the summer, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
It's going to go March, April, May. So right there, you're looking at more time. So you're definitely looking at more time if we're starting in March, and school doesn't end until June. So, yeah, that's
okay. So we're starting in March.
Yeah.
I was under the assumption that we were starting in May.
It came out today that maybe we'd be starting in March.
That would be better. That would give a full season. That would be much better than the May start. I was on the assumption.
But it may have been the end of March. Yeah, exactly. Nothing's in stone, but it may have been like the end of March, which still, if you give us April, May, that's way longer than they had. If we're starting at the end of March and you still have April, May, and June to work with, that's plenty of time for us to get our matches going.
Okay, and some divisions changed this year. Can we go over that? Vin, what division are you in? You're B.
We're Division 2.
Division 2, right?
A.
Right.
Division 2A. Remember that. You're Division 2A.
See, I'm
2A.
Confused. So if you can go over the divisions real quick, so everybody out there watching actually knows and kind of has an idea where we shifted to.
All right. Well,
right
we
now,
went to 3 divisions, and there's in each of those divisions, there's 2 subdivisions. So you have Division 1A and Division 1B. You have Division 2A and Division 2B, and then you have Division 3A and Division 3B. Hopefully giving those guys in Division 3 a chance to build up their program, get kids quality matches down there till they're ready to build up their program and go up to a higher division. We've been through them all, so I understand what it takes to progressively move up divisions. We were in Division 3 at one point. We moved up to Division 2, and now we're in Division 1. So I can see the benefit of having that if you're actually trying to build your team and given an actual shot. Burrillville was down there too with us, and they went up to Division 2. There were a lot of teams that started out that way. They saw that they can actually build something, and progressively they moved up. And Coach Vinny will tell you he's doing a great job down in Burrillville, and those kids are tough. But you can actually grow something when you have divisions set up that way. When it's just one powerhouse beating you up, it doesn't give you anything to work for. So I think the league made a right decision into making this 3 divisions happen. And they're actually set up pretty nicely. When you look at Division 1A, you have Bishop Hendricken up there, Coventry, Charahoe, North Kingstown, North Providence, and Mount Hope. And then you look at Division 1B, you have Cumberland, Hope, Woonsocket, Ponagansett, Cranston West, and LaSalle. So it evens it out. Then you have Division 2, where you have South Kingstown, where I remember coaching, and they were tough. But they had to come down a little bit just because, their numbers are low right now, but they're still a quality team. So is giving them a chance to develop their team as well, since they're down right now. I'm thinking it has to do something with their middle school program, but I'm not sure. Tollgate's down in Division 2A, Burrillville, Lincoln, Smithfield, and Central. Then you have Division 2B, where East Providence is down there, West Warwick, Cranston East, Barrington, Classical, and Pilgrim. And I remember having East Providence and Barrington up in Division 1, but now they're down in Division 2. I know East Providence, they're also in a rebuilding year, so it helps them out immensely. This works better for our sport due to the fact that rather than, having them up there and not giving teams quality matches, they actually get to go down below, get quality matches, and get more kids interested in the sport, because they're not the nail. They can actually compete with someone rather than getting beat up by a hammer. Then you have Division 3. You have Mount Pleasant, Johnston, Middletown, Westerly, Davies, and Narragansett. And then you have Division 3B, where it's Tolman and the Shaquat that they have, Exeter, West Greenwich, East Greenwich, Juanita Sanchez, Situate, and Central Falls. Those teams have normally been small teams. So that's why they're down there. They're growing. They're actually doing a great job with Tolman right now and the Shea Co-op. Exeter, West Greenwich was a tough powerhouse, and they're rebuilding right now as well. East Greenwich is up there. Juanita Sanchez, Situate's a new team, and then Central Falls and the Blackstone Valley, they're also rebuilding there, so they're doing great. It's also nice to see a team come in such as Situate and Davies. Those are new teams, so rather than putting them up with everyone else, they're given a chance to actually grow and develop their team, not just their athletes, but their team as a whole, which is huge for our sport.
Right. Absolutely. Have you done signups yet?
I personally have not done signups because I want to make sure, as if I would have done them back in October, November, when we usually do them, our kids would have, been like, Coach, when's this happening? Which when they see me at the school already, as I'm the dean of students at Hope, when they see me in the school, they're already asking, but I didn't want to get kids' hopes up till we got something definite. So we should hear something definite when we get back, because the RIL was just told that as soon as they come back January 8th, they're able to start practices and things like that. So as soon as we get something definite, I'll make sure to start the recruiting. There are other teams that are, doing signups and talking to kids and all that. I'm not there yet. I just want to take my time. But there are kids that I've seen. They want to get ready, and they're going to clinics. They're going to their clubs. I know Gina shut us down for 3 weeks, but kids are still finding ways to work out on their own. And as soon as this thing lifts, I know that kids are going to be going to practice this week. Those dedicated kids, they're going to practice this week.
What about you, Vinny? Were you able to get a sign up in? Or are you also waiting?
I didn't have an official sign up, but what I did was reach out to my guys from last year, and with the help of one of my nephews, that's the middle school coach, I knew who was coming up from the 8th grade to the freshman class. So I stay in contact with them with a group email. I've got about 26 kids that I'm reaching out to that I'm hoping are all going to come out. And then I held one Google Meets meeting with everybody. It was more just a pulse check. Everything we get, on our phones, we all get the grades sheets and everything on who's doing okay in school and who's not. I had a lot of room for concern, so I wanted to do a pulse check on what are we doing as far as our academics. We know we have eligibility. We've got, college applications coming up. So to put in a couple of pulse checks, see how the guys were all doing. Yeah. And to kind of touch base, give them a little bit of information to keep the hope and everything that there could possibly still be things and then be ready for it.
Right. I did the same thing. I put out to my guys from last year just an online sign up, the typical, the Cranston Public School sign up, page and, see where we're at. And, my numbers are down. This has definitely put the numbers down, but I think once we come back and things are lifted, the numbers are going to go right back up. I had a ton of guys last year. I had over 60 sign up. I ended up with like 44 at the end of the season that stuck. I was able to, really motivate the kids to work hard, because with those numbers, it wasn't automatic. If you're not working hard, there are going to be cuts this year. And you should have seen faces drop and jaws drop like, what? There's going to be cuts. Yeah. You got to bring your A game. You got to give you 100% all the time. Your 100% is going to be as 100%. So I will recognize that. As long as you're giving 100% every time you come to this room, you're going to have a spot here. You're going to be part of this wrestling family. And I think they all felt that. I think our numbers are going to be back up again this year. Vinny, what are your numbers looking like? I know you lost some guys, some seniors last year.
I was actually pretty fortunate. I lost two graduated. This is going to be my big year where I get hit. This will be 9 of my starters that will be graduating.
That's
so
referring
welcome to the club, baby.
9.
But yeah. Hey, I had a painful year. 2017, 2018 season. I had at most matches, I had 7 wrestlers. Yeah, and we built it back up. So I've definitely felt that squeeze, but hopefully we'll have a good turnout this year. I'm hoping for the 26. Normally we weed out a couple, and I end up with right about that 20 figure.
Nice. And
Coach, you said I lost 4. I actually lost 5 studs and 2 others that I had to fill in at 220 and at 195. But I lost my 5 stud. 4 are at Rick, and then there's 1 that's going to CCRI, and then there are 2 others. But the word you mentioned earlier, Coach,
they've earned it.
It's Alexander Ragosa, Paris Cooper, Damian Roderick, Edison Guarcus, and Jonathan Jimenez. Those were the 5 studs that I had on the lineup. But you mentioned the word earlier, which I don't think that's the word you should use when it comes to your team. You built the powerhouse, and then you said, I forget the word right now because Coach Vinny spoke when I had it at the top of my tongue. But that having 50 plus kids, because you at the beginning of the season you had 50 plus kids, and then they went down to 44. Yeah. What was the word you used? I can't remember, because that's not the word that should be used. It should be something more spectacular than that, because wrestling is a tough sport. And everywhere you go, people are saying, oh, you guys touch each other, you guys have tights and this and that. And to keep kids engaged in this day and age, when there are the video games, there's the TikToks, there's the Instagram, there's the mall, there's hanging out, there's video games going on that, they're throwing parties and playing all these video games. To keep that many kids engaged, that's a really big attribute for a new coach, because you weren't there 5 years ago.
Right. This last season was my second season as head coach.
Exactly. You weren't there 5 years ago. So to build that within 2 years, that's huge. That is huge. And I commend you for that. I kind of, envy you a little bit just because you won, the freshman states twice. We've been trying for 10 years and we haven't even come close.
We're real fortunate there. Huh? For sure.
Give Coach Vinny and I a little lesson so that we get on board with this,
I will. I mean,
he showed up with more guys in freshman states than I had on my squad for 2 years combined.
I know.
Especially I showed up with 15 freshmen. It's absolutely incredible to be blessed with that many.
My kids could draw you a singlet from memory.
Oh man, that's great. It's really all about just reaching out and just getting into the school and being there and putting up flyers and electric banners, and running different things in the school, and just constantly having that presence in the school. And then of course, having the gear, the sweatshirts and the hats and, all that stuff in circulation as well. And that's, around the school now, and everybody's talking about it, and it doesn't hurt when you win the freshman state championship and, people like, oh wow, West wrestling. and they want it. They want to be a part of it, and it's a big thing. So I've been definitely blessed and fortunate to have those type of numbers and that type of passion and drive from the wrestlers. And with that, we're just going to take another quick break, and we're going to come back in just a few minutes and continue wrestling conversation. Hang tight. This is SnapDown Wrestling with SFBNRI. Welcome back. I am on with Ben Micucci and Ed German, coach of Burrillville and Hope High School. And this is SnapDown Wrestling. I'm just going to go through, I got an interesting list that I printed up here of the past state champions team. Going back from 1953 and 54 season. Test your trivia. Who was the state champion, the team state champion in 1953-54 season? Any idea?
It was Providence. It was in Providence.
That's
it
right.
wasn't, Mount Pleasant was later.
That's right. So close.
Oh, God. It wasn't Central. They weren't there yet.
I got to say Hope then.
You hope.
And it wasn't Mount Pleasant, and it wasn't Central.
It was Central.
Mount Pleasant was later.
Yep, Central. And then 55, East Providence, 56, Mount Pleasant, 57, Mount Pleasant, 58, Mount Pleasant. All right, so 3 in a row from 56 to 58, or starting at the 55.
That was my alma mater.
Tony Terragrossa was on one of those teams.
He was. Yep. And then
Micucci's father was the coach.
59, Cranston, which is now Cranston East, 60, LaSalle, 61, LaSalle, 62, Mount Pleasant again for their fourth, 63, Cranston East, their second, which is when they opened up Cranston East. LaSalle in 64, 65 was Hendricken, their first state championship. LaSalle again in 66, their fourth. Then it started the Warwick Vets came into the picture, 67, Warwick Vets, 68, Warwick Vets, 69, Cranston East for their third, 70, Pilgrim for their first, 71, Warwick Vets for their third, 72, Coventry for their first state championship. We all know what happened with the Coventry dynasty.
We're going to go for a run with that one in the 80s.
That's where this thing's going to really sonic forward. 73 was Pilgrim for their second, 74, Coventry for their second, 75, Warwick Vets for their fourth, 76, Hendricken goes on a little bit of a run. The 75-76 season, Hendricken for their second, then 77, Hendricken for their third, 78, Hendricken for their fourth, 79, Cumberland for their first, 80, Hendricken for their fifth, 81, Hendricken for their sixth, 82, Coventry, which was Rob Smith's sophomore year, and Coventry's third state championship at that time. And then they win 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89. 89-90 season, they actually, I think they tied with Vets, but still were the state champion. 91, Coventry for their 12th. 92, Coventry for their 14th. Coventry, 94, Coventry, 95, Coventry, 96, 97, 98. And ending that was 19. So that was 17 straight state championships for Coventry, which is unbelievable. 99, Johnston. 2000, Warwick Vets. 2001, Warwick Vets. 2002, Cranston East. 2003, Cranston East. 2004, Hendricken for their 7th. 5, Cumberland for their 2nd. And Cranston West goes on a little bit of a run. 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009. Cranston West wins 4 in a row. And that was in 2006 was the first time West won the states. Then 2010, Cumberland for their 3rd. Warwick Vets in 11 for their 8th. Cumberland again in 2012 for their 4th. Hendricken goes on quite a run. 2013, Hendricken for their 8th. 14, Hendricken for their 9th. 15, Hendricken for their 10th. 16, Hendricken for their 11th state championship. In 2017, Cumberland for their 5th. 2018, Pontigansett finally makes the board with their first state championship. Pontigansett also won the New Englands in 2018, which was absolutely incredible. What a team. 2019, Hendricken for their 12th. And this past season, 2020, Cumberland for their 6th. So that's the state championship team wrap-up from the 50s, 1953, 54 season till present. That being said, that was a mouthful. I'm going to take a sip of water. Vin, who do you think will be the top 3 teams in the States this year?
Oh, that's a tough one to call. Division, with me being in Division 2, rating the Division 1 teams that are going to be making a run for it. Hendricken's always a contender. I really think that a sleeping giant is Coventry.
Yeah.
Some of the other ones, I think Cumberland might have taken too many losses with the seniors this year. I don't know I don't know what Eddie's got in his back pocket, but I know he's always got there's always an extra trick up here.
Yeah.
But I mean, we don't have enough interaction with all those guys. So I really can't say, but obviously we've always got our big 3, big 4 teams that are up top.
Yeah, I agree. And Hendricken, Hope is definitely now moved in to my top 3 for this year.
Pontigansett. No one mentioned Pontigansett. I'm telling you.
Pontigansett? Yeah, Pontigansett is going to have one of the toughest teams they've had.
Pownell's going to be dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to definitely have one of the toughest teams they've had. I know.
I mean, you've got from the Division 2 side looking into it, you've got a couple of dangerous teams with Pownell, Charahoe, Coventry. You've got some powerhouse teams that's sleeping.
Yeah.
But at any season that comes up right now, somebody could poke the bear.
Right. I was hoping I would make the top 3, but I'm thinking for me this year, it's going to be more like top 5. I'm hoping. I think they're
I'm looking at Bishop Hendricken, Pontigansett, Coventry, Charahoe, Cranston West, and then Hope. That's the way I look at it. Never count us out, but I can see how we do at states every year. We're a good team, do meet team, but when it comes to states, I don't know, something always happens to us. So.
Well, maybe the tides will turn.
Hey, that's a good slogan for the Blue Wave. You know, that's a good slogan. I like that.
Good. I'm glad you liked that one and redeemed myself from the other trip over in words, which I'm still trying to rack my brains and remember what I said about the Cranston West team, but definitely can't remember. What was your most memorable match last year, Ed? If you had a most memorable match, good or bad, what was it? Bring us back there.
I wasn't there for it. I wasn't there for it because we were dealing with something with the family, but it was Hope versus Pontigansett, and I had us winning the match, and I think we lost it by 3 points. My stud Paris Cooper he didn't wrestle his way, and the coach that was coaching them that day just kept telling them, go for the big win, go for the big win. You don't have to go for the big win. You just go for the win. You go for the win, and you're already ahead. You go for the big win. You're gonna exert a lot of energy. You're gonna go into deep waters too soon, and your body's just gonna start shutting down on you. And that's exactly what happened there. And we had a match where we could have beat Ponagansett, and we didn't. So
Yeah,
that was huge. And then our tri meet at Hendricken. That was fun. That was fun. Yeah, that was fun.
that was a lot of great matches.
Yeah.
That night. That was a lot.
That was a good setup too, because the other mat was set up for the JV kids to go at it. So it was a good night of wrestling.
It really
a lot of emotions out there. I remember getting yelled at by the ref and the coach and all that from the other opposing team.
Right. A couple of those when we were wrestling, a couple of those slams against my freshman Luke Monefusco, who
oh my God,
one of the best matches in the state championship against Josiah Fry, where he actually gave him a little run, for his money. We all know he wasn't going to beat him, obviously, but just surprised everybody with his effort and heart, knowing who he was going up against. Most kids might have, especially a freshman, might have really just crawled into his shell, but he went out there, gave it his all, and actually even kind of turned him a little bit to his back. Of course, he got right out of it, but it was during that match that he got slammed. What was the name of the kid? This was the 120-pound match.
Alexander Ragosa.
Yeah, Ragosa. Yeah, and he beat Skalama that night. Took it to him.
Yeah. Yep.
A lot of great matches. Vin, same question to you. Like, what was your, last season match, team match or individual match that really stands out to you? For me, Ponagansett, before you answer that, was one of mine. We lost by 3, and the big trend there was when Chris Gomez lost to Loman in that match, and had it going the other way, we would have won by 3, but we ended up losing by 3, and that was a try with Ponagansett and Mount Hope. So, Ben, what do you say?
Definitely ours would probably be Woonsocket. There was 2 days. One was the dual meet against Woonsocket. I had given them 18 right off the jump. We ended up, it was a 1-match swing where we came into it, but our losses that we had were by pin, and some of the bigger wins that we had were by decision. So they ended up catching us on a 1-match swing, but it was the dome at Burrillville High School. Whenever we hit Woonsocket, normally just about blows off the top. We got a good crowd for that one. And the second one, believe it or not, that I really enjoyed the most was at the onset of the season. It really kind of helped to set a tone for the season. I did something different last year, and I really liked it. We jumped into the injury fund matches. So we were able to mix it up with Division I schools. And be able, they would, like the injury fund, obviously with the minute and a halves and everything, it's not going to count. But for the experience of it and have the kids start hitting, those tougher schools and everything. Like we hit Cranston West last year. You guys mopped us, but it was still that opportunity. I had kids be able to go out there against Gomez, and we went deep into that second period. My kid, I bumped him up to go against Gomez. But to have the opportunity to be able to go out there, get that role, and be able to get that knowledge and that experience is great. So between the injury fund matches for a growth and development, the other event that we were able to mix it up with some of the D1 schools, those were two of my favorites personally, and then obviously the match against Woonsocket.
Right. Nice. Good stuff. Do you think we're going to have tournaments this year?
God, I hope so. I really do hope so, because I really feel like at the Department of Health or at the RIL level, I mean, people have to institutionally start to understand the sport. Like I mentioned earlier, if you've got 40 teams there, each athlete that we have can only wrestle so many matches. If they came in first place in the whole tournament out of 40 teams, they've only wrestled 5 times. So the restrictions that we have right now, I feel like they're a little misaligned compared to what sports are allowed to do. only because we are a safe sport. It really, truly, truly is. So for us to not have those tournaments, to me, I can't make sense out of it when we're going to have kids that wrestle 3 times. We're going to have kids that wrestle 4 times. You're touching 4 people.
Where we're at now with, the vaccine in play and everything, and based on where it's going to be placed and, how long after the vaccine is circulating and all this, I really see us having at the very least, the in-state tournaments. Out of state, that may be questionable, but for the in-state, I can see we definitely will have the 2 or the 3. You got the Smithfield, you got the South County, you got the North Providence. What other ones? Those are the 3.
Cumberland, but he's
yeah. So at least those will be in play. We could still probably get 5 tournaments. The out-of-state ones, the Methuens and all that, which is, a great tournament, is probably not going to happen. The Nashua Hall of Fame tournament, not probably going to happen. That being said, let's talk New England. New England's have been canceled. Is there any possibility, Ed, that you think that based on the percentages and numbers going down of cases that they're going to reopen that bag and say, hey, let's retake a look at this, but maybe we jump the gun and get a knee-jerk decision there?
So wrestling got hit hardest when that came out, when the guy from Connecticut put out that New England is canceling the New England wrestling. The New England Council is not canceling the New England wrestling. The New England Council is canceling every sport for New England. They're canceling every sport. It wasn't just wrestling, but the guy in Connecticut said it was wrestling. So that hurt our sport even more because people were saying, oh, if the New England Council is not doing it, then, we shouldn't do it. But they're just covering themselves, and it's the entire all the sports in New England. They're not doing it. They're just not going to risk that,
Right.
So I do not believe there will be, especially because other states have already started their season, and we're going to go so late on. It's just not. It's not
right.
feasible.
It's not gonna match up. It's not gonna
align. Yep.
Yeah.
I did hear though on Sensei Surge wrote it there. January 8th, there will be some high school wrestling. If kids wanted to join at Micucci, I think he just wrote it down. Weigh-ins or doors open at 4. There will be high school and college referees, I think he said. So I'm not sure if kids wanted to join. I just read that, so my guys will be on there.
Mayo will be going. Any other clubs that you know of that are going to be taking the same line and opening up? January 8th seems to be the date that everybody's talking.
Well, it said actual matches going, so I don't know who's actually doing other live matches like they are, but it looks like there's going to be referees and they're going to be doing live matches. It's what it says on the chat. So that's different than practices and things like that. It's actual live matches, from what I read. But I know other clubs are opening up and they're letting kids wrestle. I see them on Instagram all the time and on Facebook. That's pretty huge right now. Whoever's open is going to get a bunch of kids because the high schools aren't open right now. Their rooms aren't open, so that's huge. That's huge.
Right. Ben, anything to add onto that with the clubs or anything going on that these kids can get into?
No, the only ones that I've been able to talk to my kids about is obviously with Micucci. Blackstone, I know is going to be opening back up, and I know I've talked to the guys at Iron Faith. I know that they're going to be open. That they're definitely pulling in every age group. Yeah. From the young ones all the way through college. So
I heard that
they've got a new gym and everything. So
Top Flight. Anybody hear anything on them? Those guys have been pretty quiet.
As far as I know, they're open.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they're on Instagram and things like that. You can see the teams. They're showing what they're doing, but it's with obviously small numbers in there. But yeah, once they get back and rolling, that's going to be interesting.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, this has been great chatting with you guys. I'm going to wrap it up here. Did you guys join the Facebook group yet that we put together? Myself and Ron Robert, FBN, RI.com. The group is Rhode Island High School Wrestling. So if you haven't joined it, definitely join it. That's also where you're going to be able to see this podcast, this live stream, also on the SFBNRI Facebook page, as well as my Facebook page, as well as YouTube and a couple of other different platforms that I'll be posting on the Rhode Island High School Wrestling Facebook group page. So you're definitely going to want to get on to that. And Henry Coleman. Hey, Henry, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Ed German is one of the best. Absolutely. Great coach, great mentor. Was also
Henry Coleman is the guy that does our website too. Just if you didn't know that, he's the guy that does our website.
I did not know that. Yes.
Yeah.
No, Ed, absolutely. Ed, you did a lot with the kids. You did a lot with Beat the Streets. You were the Providence director at one point as well. And since we're talking programs real quick before we sign off, how's that program going? Hey, coaches, how many kids real quick?
We have 7 middle schools with Beat the Streets in it in Providence. We have about 3 coaches at each middle school. Last year, I want to say 10 of our wrestlers won the middle school state tournament, and about 8 took second. So they, out of 17 weight classes, that's not bad. So they're up and coming. They have great coaches down there. A lot of those coaches volunteer their time. Many of them are from around the state, colleges, and they treat those kids just like we do at the high school level. Which is what I want to say about your program. One thing you didn't mention is I know you were talking about everything that you guys do, but you didn't mention how you guys treat those kids and your coaches. You guys treat them like little adults, and with that family-oriented. I just love how you guys do it, which is awesome. But you give them that respect, but also that hard, what is it called? It's just a line that you can't cross. Like, here's your tough love that you need.
Yeah.
And it's awesome to see, because we do it, but the way I see you and your other coach, the big buff guy, I don't know his name, that tough love is needed because they know you care. It's pretty cool to see. So.
Awesome. The big buff guy is the bald guy you talk about is Ron Robert? No.
I don't know. He's big, man.
Chris Carbone, he went through CLCF together. I've known him since I was 10 years old.
Good guy, bro.
Weston Hills.
Good guy.
And then one of your alumni from Hope, Nunzio Riccio, came on as well. He's working with our
Don't talk to me about Nunzio. I asked him to coach with us, and he went to you. I asked him to coach with us as an alumni, and he went to you. But that's fine, because we got Sean Giblin, who's an alumni from there and is coaching for us. So
I know.
Great.
That's great. Giblin's great. One of Cranston West's only 4-time state champ, I think. And New England champ. Yeah.
Giblin's been helping out at Mayo too.
Yeah, and helping out at Mayo. He's all about the kids. He's great with them. Great role model. Has done it. Been in the trenches. All-American for Rick. Since we're going down that road, let's talk about that with Giblin. But really good guy. Great alumni for us to have. Love the kid for sure, and he's a legend over at West. And if you're listening, or when you talk to him, tell him to come on down to our room every once in a while, say hi, and show his face around there. And like I said, with Nunzio there, I go way back with Nunzio. We traveled a little bit with the freestyle team way back in the day with Eric Francis and Grifka and some of the great names that you hear, some of the old timers that are still coaching that really make a difference with these kids. So good stuff all the way around, guys. And with that, I'm going to wrap it up and say, don't forget Rhode Island High School Wrestling. Join that club. That's where we're going to be running a lot of this stuff. And join us each and every Monday night at 9 o'clock or 9:05, depending on when we get this thing up and running. But pretty close to 9 o'clock. And for those of you that hang in there for that extra 5 minutes, sometimes we're running behind because of weather or life. We appreciate that. So keep tuning in. This has been SnapDown Wrestling with your host, Tommy Lynch, and Vin and Ed from Burrillville and Hope. Thanks, guys, for coming on. It's been a pleasure talking with you. And we'll see you again. Happy holidays, everybody.
Thanks for having us, Coach.
And we'll see you next week. This has
Thanks
been
again,
Tom.
Tommy.
Thanks for having us.
You too, with sfbnri.com and SnapDown Wrestling. Thanks.